Hi, I'm Faye Semple, a geomancer, guiding spiritual seekers, earth healers, and dowsers to connect with earth energy and consciousness. I help you sense and harmonize these energies to create uplifting spaces, foster personal growth, and heal our planet. So, I want to talk about something quite special today. Actually, we can't live without it. I want to talk about the power of the air. So picture this. The air around you is alive. It's buzzing with tiny sparks of energy that can lift your mood, recharge your body, and awaken your spirit. Now, these are the ions in the air. And today I'm diving into how they shape your health, your energy, and why ancient sacred sites, whether on misty lowlands or windswept hills, were built really to harness their magic. So, grab a cup of tea. You know what me and my tea are like. Constantly got tea on the go. Settle in and let's explore how you can tune into these energies to heal yourself and the planet. So, what are air ions? What are they? What are the ions in the air? Well, imagine the air as a sea of invisible sparks, like fireflies. They're all carrying either a positive or a negative charge. Now, these are the ions. They're molecules like oxygen and water and all the other things that we have in the air. That nature really, they're zapped with a charge. So negative ions are the feel-good ones. They're the ones that swirl around waterfalls, they're in forests, or they're on beaches where crashing waves or sparkling sunlight gives these molecules an extra boost of life. So you know that refreshed feeling you get from walking along the seaside, or that lovely feeling, that calm feeling you get when you've been in a forest. So that's negative ions working their magic. Positive ions, though, they can like pile up like dust in corners of your rooms. So stuffy offices, city streets, they can trap, if you like, positive ions, and they can make you feel stuck, like Groundhog Day, stuck in a bad day that we just can't get out of. So in clean outdoor air, out in the countryside, you breathe in a mix of both. But modern life often tips the balance, and this what can leave us feeling drained. Sorry. So these ions aren't just floating around, in the air because they're dancing with our body and our soul. So let's look at that a little bit more deeply. When you breathe in these ions, they slip into your bloodstream and they sort of nudge your cells with this charge. Now, negative ions really create that list. It's like a warm hug from nature. They help your blood carry oxygen better. They give you more energy and a clearer head. So, as I say, if you've probably noticed how a forest hike, really is that reset button. That's why we have forest bathing. That's why people tell us to get out and walk for your mental health. So that's negative ions, and they soothe your lungs. They even fight off germs that might be in the air. They help our immune system. And in your brain, these negative ions, they really act like a natural mood filter. So they boost our serotonin. That's the chemical that makes us feel calm and content. We're just, life is good when we feel like that. But and studies, negative ions are powerful. Studies have shown that negative ions can ease stress or sadness. And this is especially so where we're near waterfalls or rivers. And it's interesting, isn't it, from a geomantic point of view, that water and, in all our myths and legends, water is often associated with our emotions, with our inner abundance, our inner peace, our inner harmony. So this is our negative ions really, are that warm embrace from nature saying, it's okay. Positive ions, though, especially in cities and built up areas, they can throw us off. Too many positive ions would be like sitting in a data bank room with 1,000 screens looking at you, and your brain is, they can make you feel tired, they can make you feel anxious. Um, like your brain's stuck in this whirring traffic jam of information that you can't get out of. So they also mess with your stress hormones. And that's why you can feel jittery and restless when you're in an area that's got high saturations of positive ions. So let's say it's why a day in a stuffy office can leave you feeling like heavy, lethargic, fatigued, irritable, aside from your colleagues. So, but because it's all the positive ions that are, build up in that environment. That's one of the factors of geopathic stress in buildings that we look at, particularly in commercial buildings, is air quality. This is saturation of positive ions together with light quality, having the wrong spectrum of light. So deep inside your cells, in these tiny powerhouses called mitochondria in the body, negative ions are like pure gold. They help your cells churn out the energy efficiently and they keep you vibrant and healthy. Too many positive ions, though, stress out these little powerhouses and they make them sort of, it's a bit like an engine. It splutters and dies and leaves you feeling sluggish and tired and all the rest of it. So negative ions keep your body humming like a well-tuned engine, but too many positive ones, it's like you need an oil change. Things just, fan belt's gone, things just aren't working. So let's look at how that affects, like in a geomantic term, lowlands and highlands. So let's look at the wider Earth herself. Lowlands, think like valleys, streamlands, coastal plains, moors. They're all bursting with negative ions. So water's movement, like waves, waterfalls, rivers, streams, splits molecules and releases then these feel-good sparks into the air. So if you stand by a river, you're breathing in thousands of negative ions. You're bathing in this sense of calm and vitality. Highlands, like mountaintops or rocky hills, are very different. They hum with positive ions. Up there, the dry air and these cosmic rays, if you like, because you're up higher up in the atmosphere, cosmic rays from the sun, they actually create a crisp, energizing vibes. So they can give you a spark of clarity. So this is why when we go to mountains, you know, myth and legend, like you're closer to God. You can connect with something more than yourself. You can see the big picture, not just in the landmass physically, but metaphorically. So up there in the highlands, you get this crisp, energizing vibe. Like I said, like this spark of clarity. So mountains actually act like giant antennae. So they pull positive ions upwards, while the valleys below capture the negative ones. So it's as if the Earth has her own really energy battery, positive and negative. So negative pool in the lowlands and positive rise to the highlands. So sacred sites, how does that matter for sacred sites? Well, our ancestors felt this without fancy tools, really. They were the original dowsers feeling the land's pulse. So they built sacred sites in lowlands and highlands, I believe, to capture this dance of the ions, balancing the calm of negative ions with the clarity of lowland ones. And sacred structure enhances those ions as well as reduces any detrimental effects that they may have on us. So lowland sites like sacred wells or springs pulse with these negative ions. So they're perfect for healing and emotional release. These places soothe our heart, like the Venus-aligned heart chakra, fostering love and connection. And highland sites like Glastonbury Tor or the Andean peaks, they buzz with positive ions. So they spark insight and spiritual awakening, like the crown chakra, which is tied to Uranus, the awakening. It's up there, we can connect to something more than ourselves. Down here, we're in our own body. And that's an interesting phenomenon when we come to sacred sites. The sacred sites that are upland, people tend to have psychic experiences about something that's out there in the world. In lowland sites, particularly like in the belly of the womb or in chambered cairns, people tend to have psychic experience connected to themselves and their family members. So, high spots is the awakener, low spots is internal. So these spots, they can be on telluric currents. Those are these ley lines, energy pathways that we work with. They amplify the Earth's pulse and they open up our intuition and spirit. So these sites really are like living spaces. They harmonize the Earth's energy with our own and how it interacts with our own biofield, our physiology, and our neurochemistry. So they enable us to find this balance. Really, I always come back to this balance of order and chaos within ourselves. So, I think when we're dowsing, we feel this in these places. The land's ion balance, it's calling us into balance in ourselves for this sort of being out there and action taking and being in here and solid in ourselves. So this is where the earth and we, let's say, are always holograms of the universe's grand tapestry or grand dance. So how can we bring this into your home? So in our modern world, we're often cut off from this iron flow. We're stuck in this positive iron heavy spaces with screens, mobiles, TVs, stale air. But you can change that. So spend time if you're particularly in an urban environment, spend time going for walks out in countryside, try and go for a hike, try and get by water, try and get by the sea if you live near the sea, go for a walk in the woodlands. Even a park, if you're in a city, is better to soak up these negative ions, and they'll help recharge your energy and really lift your mood. So, climb a hill for a dose of that positive ion spark to get some insight into your life. But better yet, try dowsing your home and garden. It's a simple way to sense these energies and create spaces that feel alive and uplifting. You can ask simple questions like, is my home heavy? Oh, sorry, is my home a positive iron heavy environment? To see whether is that affecting your health and well-being. So your body and spirit are wired. Physiologically we are physically and metaphysically wired to feel the earth's pulse, to listen to it. We need to learn to listen to the language of the land, hence the title of my new book. So ask yourself, when have you felt, your energy shift near water on a hilltop? How can you bring that harmony into your life in an easy way on a daily basis that, can make all those little subtle shifts, can make you feel more aligned, more engaged and happy and more fulfilled? The earth is speaking through her sacred spaces, through the secular spaces where we live and work. They're all speaking to us. We don't just have to visit a sacred site. So as spiritual seekers, earth healers and dowsers, really, you feel that calling to work with these energies, to harm your spaces and really to awaken your soul. So if you'd like to download, any of the free things I have below, there's a guide to dowsing, there's a guide to your home energy blueprint. There's also one about the secrets of sacred sites. Download those, subscribe, join me on your journey and share any experience you have in the comments. Have you felt the magic of a sacred space? So I hope you'll join me in co-creating a world that is in balance. And cheering us on to be the best that we can be. So what energy are you going to tune into today? You're going to go for a forest walk? You're going to try and be near water? So until next time, blessings are from the earth's heart and mine to you.